Hey everybody, it's Alton with MicroGrinder.com, and I'm here with our mentor Paul Reg, as he is on our site. And today we're doing a short, quick video on table selection where Paul's going to kind of talk about his process that he goes through in terms of table selecting, which will go hand in hand with our write-up that we created. So, Paul, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Yeah, hello there, buddy. Pretty much all I'm doing, my sole goal is to find weak players. Like this table, for example, Thong Forlos. He's tagged as a light blue player, which in my notes is a really weak player, the weakest of the weak. And I'm looking to try and get seats as close to their direct left as possible. Unfortunately, there's a regular and a semi-regular between us at this table, but this is definitely the sort of player I'm looking to play against. As I looked at it at the start of the video, I found one straight away. My general technique for finding these players is just to scroll to the lobby. Red is tight regulars or aggressive regulars, and I'm looking for players that either aren't tagged or players with less than 100 big blinds in their stack. This table is a table I will go nowhere near because we have three regulars already at it, and the only untagged player has more than 100 big blinds. It could be the player's a fish, but I don't know it. And because there's already three regulars there, it's not really worth my time to try and find out. So we just carry on scrolling down. Green there is a fish. So that's one player we could consider joining this table. But because I'm going to be so much out of position to him, again, it's not a table I would really go out of my way to join unless there was another fish in between us, because I'm going to be effectively just two seats to his right. It means I'm not going to be have position on him often enough to make it worth my while to play that particular player. So I will close that table, and we just keep scrolling down the lobby. Here's another one with two players. They're fishy. One of them's unfortunately left, but again, I've not got a bad seat on this fish. I'm only two seats away from him. So I'm going to have position on him quite a lot. It's unfortunate that there's two regulars there, and it's unfortunate the guy's only got a 40 big blind stack. But it's worth playing. If two more regulars come and sit to my left, I would probably leave the table because all of a sudden I'm fighting with five regulars for somebody with 40 big blinds. And whereas it's a profitable situation, I'm sure I can find more profitable situations than that. So we just see who sits, who fills the other two seats as to whether we're going to continue with that table. And we keep scrolling down. As you can see, I've got a lot of players tagged. I can't stress the importance of tagging players enough. It just really helps with future sessions when you're starting tables. When you're starting sessions, if you can avoid tables that are pretty reg heavy, it's what you want to be doing. Now I'll scroll through the lobby. I've got the only two tables that are currently have open seats that are worth playing. I've still got one more space left because I tend to play three tables. So what I will do now is I will just open the table and sit at it myself and just wait for a player to sit. If a regular sits, I will probably apologise and not play them. If a unknown player sits or a known fish sits, I will sit and I'll happily play them heads up. And that's pretty much how I start my sessions. When I go out of two tail, I wouldn't be monitoring the lobby now very often until one of the tables I'm at breaks. And then I would just go back to the same process again of just starting at the top and working my way down, looking for either green or light blue tags, or players that aren't tagged with less than 100 big blind stacks. We go back to this table now. This Gerber guy looks like he probably is going to be a fish, Jertas, because now his stack was $59 earlier, now it's just $22, which makes it highly likely the guy's a fish. This table now, I'm more than likely going to leave it because the fish, as you can see, just lost all his chips. If he'd I'll play for a few minutes, see if he reloads. If he doesn't reload, then I would just leave because I've no interest in playing two regulars short-handed. The chances are these guys will probably leave too because they'll probably have similar mindsets to myself. Top
Yeah.
left table, it looks like we've got a fish who's sat with us. He's just sat. He's only got 40 big blinds. He's not tagged, so this looks like it's going to be a profitable situation for us.
And Paul, can you talk about real quickly your strategy for tagging players? I know you and I talked about it, but I was wondering if you just could open your window and kind of show people your strategy for tagging on your poker software.
Well, the client itself has these different color codes, these different ways of marking players. And I'll close this table up here so we can see it properly. And it has them like green, it says tight good on here. Now I've tried editing that out to make it fish or weak player or something, but it doesn't seem to work. I save it for the session. The next time I start a session, it's back to the standard of the client. So all I do now is that in my own head, I have green as a fish, I have the light blue as a huge fish, I have red as an aggressive regular, I have yellow as a weak tight regular, and I have the fish icon as a regular that has fishy tendencies, and they are pretty much the only tags I use. I don't like to have too many tags because the more you have, the harder it is to scan lobbies effectively. If you only have 4 or 5, you get to know your own tags very quickly, and it's just really easy to scan the lobby and quickly
Yeah,
quickly find
definitely.
find the weak players. So that's my game selection, pretty much in a nutshell. There's not much more to it than that. I am very, very intense about it, though. I absolutely pride myself on game selection. I do not play tables with at least one player on that I have a significant edge over. You need to have the dead money in the games. If
Yeah,
there's no dead money in games, just you've got to see where's your profit coming from. Your profit isn't coming from a 22-18 regular. Your profit's coming from something like this guy, this 89-79 guy. That's where your profit's coming from. So that's what you need to focus on finding. This is actually a really fun situation because I've probably got the worst hand here, but so much equity I can't fold to the guy. And yeah, I did have the worst hand, but I mean, what are you going to do?
right.
That wasn't supposed to be part of this video, to be fair, watching me lose to fish, but there you go, that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah,
But then,
and you had the perfect amount of equity to call, so I
but
mean
it's a
it makes
prime
sense.
example of, I mean, the guy's playing 90-80, he's min raising ace nine off under the gun. These are exactly the kind of players that you want to be finding. And to be fair, it fully justifies the tag that I've given, the tag that he had, which they want me to find him in the first place. I'm pleased to be in the situation. I lost, it's just the way it goes sometimes.
Right. And the whole, the goal of this is to try to stack him in the long run while you're at the table. And
Yeah,
getting back to
it's a
what,
race.
yeah,
It's a race. It's a race to
exactly.
stack him. There's 3 regulars and 1 semi-regular, and it's pretty much just a race for one of us to stack him. And you want to try, and the closer you are to his left, the better chance you have of being that person that stacks him. Which is why seat selection is also important.
Yeah, and just, for our viewers, just to get back to what Paul was saying, is that, your money's going to come from the fish. You don't, this is why table selection is so important, and that's how it greatly affects win rates. So you want to get on the table against the fish and be in position versus being on a table full of regs where you're all battling against each other. It's just not worth it.
No, I completely agree. It's absolutely not worth it. It's frowned upon these days. People seem to have a negative so like reaction to bum hunting, as it's called, or game selection. People seem to think it's bad, or they think bad for the game or whatever. But I don't subscribe to that theory. For as long as poker's been going, it's pretty much been good players
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
to find bad players and taking the money off them. You know, if you want poker to be an intellectual stimulating challenge for you, and you all you want to do is find good players and enjoy the competition, that's fine. That's up to you. I wouldn't knock anyone for doing that. But if you want to be a seriously profitable poker player, you need to find the loose money. It's that simple. The rake's quite high. You know, you need to overcome the rake. The rakes will be 10 big blinds, 100 on most sites at micro stakes. So you need to be winning at 10 big blinds, 100 just to break even. So we need to be finding these big fish who are losing at 50, 60, 70 big blinds, 100, because that's where the money to fund the games comes from. If they're not there, the game's really not worth it.
Exactly, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, in terms of game selection, no, not really. Just really, really emphasise the point of we need these players in games. If they're not in your games and you're sitting, you're doing something wrong. You know, you need to be constantly reviewing the tables that you're playing. This is something you can't do if you're mass tabling. You can't constantly quality check the tables that you're playing on. And you need to always make sure that you've got a fish at your table and that ideally they're no more than 2 seats to your right. The closer to your right they are, the more profitable situation it is for you. If this guy was to my direct left, I would still stay because he's such a big fish. It means
Right.
he's got a 90% VPIP. But if it was just a 50% VPIP, I would consider maybe try to find a better table.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the further, if they're directed to your left hand side, they act to you after post flop, the activity after every time, is just so much harder to play against them, even against fish. It's just not a difficult. It's a difficult situation to be in. So
Yeah.
you need a fish, and you need them to your right. That's what you want to be aiming for.
Yeah, and that'll get, this is our first video, in our series of, mastering the Hold'em basics, and we'll be talking about the power position, in future video and in future thread. But, hopefully this would be a good kickoff for all of our, study group members, community members, and, those of you on our forum. Hopefully you'll get a lot of value from this. And if you have any follow-up questions, or if you want us to talk about any follow-up aspects of whatever Paul discussed in here in regards to table selection and seat selection, definitely post in the forums. We're here to help you guys out. So with that, Paul, I'll let you go ahead and conclude it, and we'll go ahead and shut off the video.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll catch up with you guys on the forum.
All right, take care, everybody.